Good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a lovely day. I'm a bit late, but I slept in because bad weather's moving in. It was making my bones hurt, so I took some extra medicine for that. Which might not sound reasonable, but when you're hurting, you're hurting. You can't do shit when you're hurting. So we are here to do some drawing, pixel arts, and whatnot. Oh, that's not on the right screen. That is, though. There we go. Do believe I need to, this. Just another color. I need to see what I'm doing. I'm doing stuff in a different color here. I need the ingot. Better? Hey, Sci Sniper, how you doing? God damn it. We're at a moment where you're like, ugh. Hair lands on you in a weird way and you just like completely get like not shook up, but like I don't know what the right word is. Am I? I'm fine. I read you. I said me. I said I read the rest of your sentence. Realized it sounded weird. I'm doing all right. You wouldn't believe that from the things I just literally said, but I'm all right. I'm going to draw moss. Moss. We need moss. Moss. That is definitely not. I assure you, everything is fine. There is no war in Ba Sing Se.
Let the flame ignite.
The thing is, with AI, and the reason why I don't trust its results, is because I know how it's trained. And what's it training off of if it's advanced? Certainly not any better models than are already available. Basically, the whole concept is, if you sum up the entirety of the internet, which no one should do, because ew, what's wrong with you? But if you summed up the entirety of the internet, and let it roam free as something, and respected it for some reason, as an intelligent being unto itself, well, I'm just saying, some of the stuff that's on the internet is unsavory as shit, and maybe we shouldn't be trusting a model based on things that are fucking horrible. So my question is, if AI has evolved, and I won't say that it hasn't, what new model, what new data have they absorbed to make it do what it's doing right now that's impressive? Because if it's more shit from the internet, that's not a good thing. If it's more copyrighted works, that's not a good thing either. If it's training off of its own generational data, that's really bad, and it might seem slicker, but it also might be worse. So the thing is, because data sets are apparently proprietary, despite the fact that they're literally stolen, how do we know what's being presented is new and original when traditionally, quote-unquote, AI is largely iterative off of human creation? Like, okay, I can admit maybe it has bells and whistles, but at the same time, where did the bells and whistles come from? Who's responsible for them? And do they have a motivation for creating that, like, some sort of new stuff to be impressive? Who did it? Where did it come from, and why? Because there isn't anything that AI does that humans didn't do first. That's just the nature of it. Yeah, and the thing is, like, I don't want to be, like, too harsh on AI. There is a lot of use for AI that isn't necessarily stealing people's jobs and making people's lives worse and stealing art from artists and stealing writing from writers and stuff like that, but it does have the ability to do things like analyze data super fast. Super cool. That's really awesome, because it does it faster than people do. It's very good at recognizing patterns because we've trained it. As human beings, we trained the AI to be quite good at analyzing patterns. Super awesome. Because to be honest, they're not hiring the autistic folks anymore because now they look at us like a liability instead of like, hey yo, somebody who analyzes patterns real good. One of the funniest things I ever saw was like someone complaining about scientists having no sense of fashion, and being like, see, it just proves that they're eccentric. Their brain works a different way, so they're eccentric. I'm like, or, and hear me out, they're autistic, because of course they fucking are. And they don't adhere to societal norms because honestly, comfy clothes make sense when you're gonna be in an uncomfortable situation, like a social presentation that you didn't want to have to go to, but you're gonna have to go to if you want the money to keep doing your research. I mean, I'd be interested to see which human neurons we're talking about. Where did they come from? Where do they go? Where do they come from, Cotton Eye Joe? I mean, not denying they did it, but at the same time, I'm denying they did it because, generally speaking, something like that would be considered an ethics violation. Even if they came from, say, from donated tissue, which they probably didn't. They probably came from embryonic tissue. If at all real, or if it's just a proposal. Because proposals tend to get blown up by the media pretty quickly. Like, someone will say, I think we should do this, and everyone's like, oh my god, the cloning revolution has begun, and it's like, bitch, no. Someone proposed it in a paper, they're a student, and they're now currently being investigated for ethics violations, because now everybody thinks that they may have actually done it when they were just proposing it, you know? Oh, that's interesting. One of the stem cells or something, which again is donated fetal tissue, usually speaking. Usually. Now I want this one to look like it's coming forward, so I'm gonna have to get rid of that and this. And as I know, I don't have a problem with people using fetal tissue for that sort of thing, because honestly, what else are you going to do with the leftovers from IVF? You should donate it to science, because it's invaluable to research. I believe I've asked this question before. Now, one thing I did hear about was that they had created an AI with rat neurons. So it wouldn't be so surprising if someone had figured out a way to do it with human neurons. But I'm curious if that would be considered an ethics violation. I really am. Because generally speaking, anything that you do with that sort of stuff, you generally can't make it do labor, you know? Like, the whole concept of cloning is that it would create a second class of citizen, potentially resulting in human beings that are fully human beings being used as slaves in order to serve other human beings who created them in a lab. Like, there's always this issue of when it comes to human remains and human cells, even being forced to do something beyond, you know, general testing. If you've put them to work, shouldn't they pay taxes? What's everyone doing? We're talking about human neurons being used in a lab to run an AI. And whether this is a model based on human neurons or actual human neurons, question mark, we don't know. But isn't it an interesting ethical question whether or not that would be problematic or not? I'm not sure. And I'm not saying it is or it isn't. I am not a person to deal with the moral implications, because that's not my job, or I'd have that job. I love, like, it's one of the things that frustrates me arguing with people on the internet, because I do that way too often and probably fucking shouldn't, is, people who are like, well, if you have a problem with it, what's the solution? And I'm like, I'm not smart enough to come up with a solution, but I'm not going to pretend that your ideas are a good solution, because they fucking aren't. My god, the biggest, funniest gotcha of today is someone trying to convince me that Canada's new Prime Minister is, oh, by the way, we talk really boring shit during art streams unless I'm singing. Fair warning, because I can actually think when I'm doing that, because I don't usually get a chance to do much thinky or chatty when, why did I do that on that layer? No, did I put that on that layer? Oh, I didn't. Oh my god. I'm ahead of myself. Amazing. That looks good. You're so confused? CL1? I'll look it up. I've grown human neurons with silicon hardware to create a synthetic biological intelligence. Interesting. I do like. Okay, I will read up on this because this is interesting. Cool. Thank you for giving me the key phrase to Google on that. Super cool. Interesting. High performance closed loop. Interesting. System can stay alive for up to 6 months. 6 months or 6 years? Interesting. Up to 6 months. Interesting. Oh, it's fine. Brief breaks are always okay during art streams. Hence why we talk about subjects other than just whatever game we're playing, because it is good to let our brain do a thinky think from time to time too. Oh yeah. Anyways, so someone's trying to criticize Canada's new prime minister. So. In the Canadian system, because a lot of people understand the American system much better than the Canadian system, unless you live somewhere where the Commonwealth parliamentary system is common in your area. And I can't remember where you're from, Zai Sniper, but basically what happens is people don't, you vote in a prime minister, but really that prime minister gains power via the party seats. So, like, each individual riding votes in a person based on how many seats are in that riding, each riding has one seat assigned to it. Each riding represents a certain amount of Canadian people. Each of those seats dictates how much control the prime minister, like, which party has control of the seat of the prime minister. Now, while you are voting for a person, because they're the leader of that party, really what you're putting into power is a party. So if a prime minister steps down, or they die, or they get sick and they can't work anymore, or any other contingency, they get arrested, there is no vice prime minister to take over the position. The party runs a new leadership campaign, like you do, runs a new leadership campaign. New leadership campaign picks a new prime minister. So Justin Trudeau stepped down because people were getting hot under the collar about his leadership, which happens. I won't give any comment about whether or not I liked him. I had problems with him, but so did every Canadian, because no one person can satisfy everybody else, but that's beside the point. But anyways, members of the Liberal Party, which includes regular Canadians, like not just some sort of elite group of liberal people. No, it's literally like you can be a member of a party and that gives you permission to vote on the leadership of the party. Any Canadian can join so long as they're 18 and are a citizen. Like you can just be part of the party and vote on it. So it's like that party got to vote on who the new leader would be. So that new leader has been installed as a interim prime minister. He doesn't serve a full 5 years or, however long. He serves until the end of his period, which is at minimum 5 years, at maximum 5 years, at minimum whenever a new election gets called. So he called an election right away. So of course they're scrambling about, doing their speeches and whatnot, and someone was going off about how, Carney's not really the real prime minister. Yes, he is. Because the Liberal Party is in charge right now, which means the leader of the Liberal Party is the prime minister. That's how that works. It's fine. You literally can vote in the new election if you don't want him to run. It's so amazing. The thing that's killing me is, like, everything that his major form of opposition, which is the Conservative Party, which is, I want to hesitate to say they're like Republicans, there's a lot of them who really like the Republican Party and have deep ties to the Republican Party, but traditionally, they've always been a little closer to center than the Republican Party is. And people don't understand, like, because especially if you hear a lot from, like, the American side of things, you hear this left versus right thing. But in the rest of the frickin' world, there's generally 3 positions on that chart. Not left and right, but right, center, and left. With every degree in between right and center and left. Like, there's a big, huge degree. So, like, in my opinion, the GOP, Republican Party in America, very right. Scary right at this point. Kind of terrifyingly level of right. But the Democrats are actually what Canadians, I'm not sure about the rest of the world, but at least Canadians would view as being center-right. And you're like, wait a second, there is no left? No, there isn't. Bernie's pretty left, but he's center-left. He's pretty center, to be fair, but he's a little center-left. He'd probably lean a little bit left if he could afford to. Like, more left than people understand that he does. So, when people are like, left versus right, I'm just like, your Democrats are not right-wing, strict right-wing, marching in step with the Republicans. No. But they do have interests in business. They do have interests in finance. They have fewer interests in social supports because they don't enshrine them as a human right, for example. But like, what do you mean? If they were center-left, like Bernie, they would deeply support getting rid of privatized healthcare. Like, deeply support it, right? Hey, Sans, how you doing? Aw, cheers! They call Polonia. It's like Polish people outside Poland who still want to be part of Poland. They can vote for the Polish government for people like Poland. There's social voting centers for... Oh! Do you mean like people who live in other countries but they're still citizens? Yes, we do have that. Especially for our military members, but yeah, there's plenty of Canadians who are abroad, like, all the time, like business people, celebrities. Like, a lot of people, like, critique our celebrities right now. They're like, well, you know, they live in the US. And I'm like, they live where the work is. Don't you fucking criticize them for living where the work is. If there was more work here for them, they'd live here. In fact, there's a number of Canadian celebrities who still, like, they have a full house here. They live here, like, a number of months out of the year when they're not working. And they're still, like, getting scripts, getting ready to do a role. Like, I used to live in a place where a lot of those celebrities lived, so I actually ran into them all of the time. They live in Canada. They just kind of don't make a big deal out of it, because they also have a house down in the US where they live, because that's where they work. But also, thank you, we enjoyed ourselves. So yeah, there is the ability for people who have a citizenship to vote in our elections, because of course they should be able to vote on things that they care about, because they're still part of us. Did we get hit with a tornado Friday? I actually know someone who got hit with a tornado on Friday. Sorry, I guess their road got hit with the tornado on Friday. They are okay, but other things on that road got wrecked. But no, we've had some shit weather for like the past 2 weeks. Holy crap. And it's shit weather again today. We're gonna have a big old snowstorm again. My bones are aching. They're very angry right now. Oh no. Well, preserve your battery. Be careful about YouTube devouring your battery. It loves to eat my battery. I have to like constantly check that it's not trying to run some shit in the background. And just YouTube itself. You got flooding? Oh no! I know you said that your roof got wrecked, but you got flooding too now. Holy crap. Oh, the weather here is always shit. Like there's a long-standing joke called the Canadian weather rock. specifically for Ontario, but it's really the Canadian weather rock. So, the Canadian weather rock goes as follows. You will have a rock, you get a little wooden pole, you tie a rope on it, you put a hole through a rock, and you tie the bottom of the rope through the rock. The rock is just hanging there. And it says the Canadian weather rock. Is it dry? It's sunny out. Is it wet? It's raining. Is it covered in snow? It's snowing. If the rock's missing, there's been a tornado. If it's swinging back and forth, it's windy. Oh no! Allergies 2 on top of that. That's no good at all. My little cousin is dealing with allergies too right now. It is that time of year though, you know? Snow's going away. Things are blooming. The flowers are doing their thing. That's pretty cool. They actually, there's a name for the rain phenomenon version of that. That's called the Devil's Wedding. You're like, the Devil's Wedding? Well, the concept is that the weather's being weird. It's pouring rain, but the sun is out. And basically it means that right above you is one fucking cloud that's doing its goddamn best. Well, over there's no clouds and the sun's over there. That's good. I really hope that happens for you. Stay warm, stay safe. It's no good losing your power, especially if it's still cold out, you know? Or if it's way too hot out.
Story. I'm trying to find the glory. Got them all sleeping on me. My haters out here dying, snoring. Why they mad that I'm finally growing? And they see me fighting for it.
That's good. Cheers. We might be. We do stream twice a day. Every day. Much better. I mean, there's different classes of license, right? So there's an M and like an M license that it lets you ride motorcycles without having any form of training. There's no license required for like a snowmobile or a jet ski. There is a requirement for boats, though. That's its own thing. That's a boat license that has nothing to do with driver's license. Oddly enough, you'd think they'd be under the same fucking thing, but they aren't. And then there is different grades. Like there's 3 different grades for I know this because my dad was a mechanic, so like there's a trucking license for trucks up to a certain weight, and then there's a trucking license for above things that are that weight. And then of course there's different shit for whatchamacallit, heavier machinery than that. But there's no license for, say, a tractor or a horse and buggy, which are not as common as they used to be. They used to be really common. I used to live in an area where there was a lot of Mennonites. But as for, like, really strange vehicles, generally speaking, what usually keeps most odd vehicles off the roads is they have to pass an eco test. They have to, like, not pollute the air. Which means that anything that's older or weird or burns coal or diesel to an incredible amount, yeah, those don't exist on Canadian roads. They can't, because they pollute, and you can't muffle that shit. It's rare I get to talk about cars. I don't usually talk too much about them because my knowledge of them is both cursory and limited to older data, because again, I know about it through my dad, not because I have a particular deep interest in it myself. But I do know enough about that stuff because my dad used to do eco testing for a while there. What am I drawing? It is the easiest way to put it is a little robot. It's a robot design for someone who commissioned us to draw it. It's a pixel art of said character. Well, said person. I need to look at the color scheme for everything, but I think that's all good. The only thing I really need to add in now... that needs to go under... Do I recommend Canada for living? Do you have any skills? Because moving to Canada is actually intensely difficult if you A, aren't rich, B, have no skills, like, you really need to get, like, a work visa to come here, sort of thing. Or C, aren't a student. Those are the general ways that you can enter Canada. So if you're looking to immigrate, for whatever reason, and you're not from a country that's currently being accepted as refugees, because sometimes that happens, and sometimes, you know, so you always look into that. Fortunately, Canada does not have open borders for refugees from the U.S., which really kind of sucks for folks in the U.S. right now. But what was I gonna say? Look into skilled labor, because generally speaking, if you're an unskilled laborer, Canada's not going to take you. And the reason why is any job you'd acquire would take a job away from an unskilled Canadian laborer, because not everybody has a university degree. Not everybody has trade skills like electrician sort of stuff, a doctor, a nurse, or teacher, or stuff like that. Oh, you're in Texas. What? Cheers. The bobs are very spiffy. But yeah, they always need skilled labor, because, I mean, not everybody's cut out for skilled labor. And it can be very hard on your body. It can be very, very dangerous work, too. If you know how to weld, if you know how to drive a forklift, That's already hitting the point where you could easily get a job in Canada. You just need to find a work offer. The other problem with, at least right now in Canada, is a lot of the area is dominated by conservatives who have basically completely deregulated the rental markets, which has resulted in housing issues to no end in a lot of the more populous provinces. Like, for instance, it's just very expensive to live here. It really goddamn is. And there's nothing we can do about it because, well, they just keep getting elected back into office, and it'd be super nice if, like, you know, Liberal Party get their act together and actually put someone up against them that could potentially overthrow them, but, you know, that hasn't happened in eons. The reason why I'm frustrated by it is it affects my life, so it is frustrating to me. Are we gonna... Oh, man. I don't think I can actually zoom in anymore. Aww. Well, we usually don't go out too much. We kind of stay at home a lot. It's true. The other thing that really sucks is it's very, 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 very difficult to move here if you have a disability, which is incredibly ableist, and I do not support it, and I would like them to fucking change that. But if you have a disability, it can be incredibly difficult to move here. And the reason why is, you know, people are like, well, you know, we don't want to support them. Okay, so I did do that correctly. Excellent. We do love that. Thank you, Siribot. You're doing such a good job. I'm still hiding all my secrets. And I just need someone to believe in. So, take you. Flip vertical. Oh, that's a disability. God damn. I should definitely have added that to my application for disability. But speaking as a disabled Canadian who had to freaking fight forever to get on disability, even though, you know, my doctor supported that, and I had how many doctors? 4 different doctors? 4 different doctors basically say, yes, this person is disabled. Disabled, please. Stop being dicks about this. And having the Canadian government be like, whoa. Oh no. How many years did it take? Almost 2 from the time we actually got the paperwork out the first time. But more than that, because I got rejected the first time, so yeah. God damn it, there's all new things I should be adding to my freaking list of problems. That's good, that's good, that's good, that's good. Hit Control T, and then we merge down. I said Control T. Okay. Merge down. Merge down. There we go. And now we need to clean this up. Antler needs erasing here, and here, and here. Moss needs erasing here. Antler needs erasing here. You may not have both. Well, as a person who has a lot of short-term memory loss because of my actual literal disability, that fucking sucks, and I get it. And hopefully you can figure out what's happening and deal with that in proper order, because being able to overcome that on any level, that's a real challenge, and I understand. It's one of those things where, like, when I was dealing with the government, I literally had my like someone with me on the phone at all times to help me remember what was being said, because anytime anything remotely disturbing happens, my brain just goes, nah, you don't get to remember that. Probably a bad thing. You shouldn't remember it if you're getting stressed out, which is really, really bad for important things. And you would be like, oh, well, that would be really nice to forget things that are traumatizing. Well, the problem is we don't forget it. We just don't process it properly. If you're like, wait a second, why do you keep talking at the royal we? It's because there's more than one person in here. We have DID, which is dissociative identity disorder. There's more than one person in my head. And that's because our brain learned the trick of trying to keep us safe. And the way it did that was by making extra people every time something really bad would happen. Once it learned the trick, it just kept doing it. Every freaking time something really super traumatizing would happen, it would say, well, you know, this person's way too traumatized. We're just gonna start over. We're gonna make a new person, and we're gonna, you know, like, for instance, I have distinct memories of, like, the very first time, like, when I first started to exist. I have distinct memories of having someone in my head saying, your name is this, you live here, your postal code is this, your phone number is this, your mom's name is, your dad's name is, your siblings' names are, this school is this, you are in grade whatever. All these things over and over and over and over again. And that's how I learned to become me. And that's because we have a headmate who can talk to everybody. Well, as far as we know, can talk to everybody. He might not be able to talk to one or two people. Who literally, his whole job was to let us know everything we needed to know about ourselves so that we could fake it till we make it. Take a breath, take a breath. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm a little manic today, and that's a normal thing for specific hormonal times of the month. We like, you know, some people have a cycle where they're just like really, really cranky all of the time, or they only get cranky and then they're neutral. We have a manic cycle and a kind of grumpy manic cycle, and we're neutral the rest of the time. Well, actually, depressed most of the time, but. Oh my God, Sans, go charge a dang phone. Oh, wait a second, you can't. Be careful. Have a good night. New layer. I still can't spell. I cannot spell to save my life. I need to make this a distinct color from every other color that's here. Orange. Orange. I have to be really careful with myself when I'm in a kind of high energy day because the body can't keep up to the brain and I can easily overwork myself, so I try and limit the amount of things I do, but that means that there's a lot of energy for chatting. To get really chatty. Apologies if I'm a bit high energy today. We're usually pretty vibe-tastic here. Yeah, and not everybody has a power bank. I used to have one, but it died. It died and it was really scary because when it went, like, what's the word? When my power bank went, it decided to make the most horrific noise ever. It was so bad and it scared me so much. It was like I understand you want to have an alert to say, hey, yo, something's wrong with this thing. But it really doesn't need to make horrific noises. It really doesn't. I don't know who decided that was a good idea, but please don't do that again. And again, like, it makes sense, but still, stop it. Get some help. Admittedly, I should say it lasted a long time because it came from my extended family's house. And it was probably 10 years old when I got it. What song does this remind me of? It reminds me of a really old song. That's uncool. That is uncool. I would cry if that happened to me in the middle of a stream. This is why I have a wire. I have a wire. I'm holding it up. That's stupid. Nobody can see me holding up my lovely wire. It is plugged in. And having things die in the middle of the stream. My cousin was going off about, you know, why don't you get a wireless mouse? I'm like, if it runs out of batteries, I'm going to freak the hell out. No. Like, I get it. It's pretty cool. But no. No, thank you. Undervines. Can I select purple, please? Thank you. You know what would help? If I actually was drawing instead of erasing. I sleep better tonight. Now I'm old and cranky. I'm a giant boomer for technology. I don't trust. I don't trust. Flower under. Is there a way to make this one step smaller without losing its flowerness? William's telling me I need to look at something. What's it called? View? And no, rangefinder. Images. Oh, yep, you're right. I need... What layer is that on? Yep. Found it. I noticed there were some pixels that were kind of in an odd place, and I'm like, that doesn't look right. And then William was like, that should be on the top of... the rangefinder.
I'm decked out and I'm rolling out, no controlling. DNA ain't no hoeing, jumped in deep, never put no toe in. Stepped out and I'm throwing, every day I've been growing. Never know where I'm going, and your bitch like how I'm flowing.
Yeah. Personally, I think it's a really good idea to learn a second language because you actually learn more about languages, like, as on a whole, by learning a second language. Because they had to teach you what parts of language are what parts. Whereas, I really wish they would get away from referring to... using English as an example, like, when I took English studies... you aren't really studying the English language because you already speak it, so you're actually studying literature. And if they called it literature instead of just English, or literature and whatever it is in Polish instead of just Polish, it would be so much better and easier to understand for students to be like, oh, I'm studying the literature of these things. Because a lot of people I'd say probably across the political spectrum, probably don't have a concept of that unless they've actually, you know, studied English university. Why they do that and how it works and why you should do that. Why you should have students learning about the literature of their own homeland and native speakers of their language, because it's about giving them information about their own cultural identity, how to think, how to examine situations. And the reason why you read, say, like for instance, I read a book that I know is banned at least in a couple of states, which is Catcher in the Rye, and that's a depressing fucking book. It truly is. And I know that some of my, like, the other students in my class had parents who were very upset that they were going to be reading this book. And there was some pushback from parents, because why would you make our children read a book that's about something that, for instance, didn't really happen in our country? At least not to that degree. And how that works. And it's like, well, one, it's actually teaching you about stuff that did happen in our country. The Catcher in the Rye features the Underground Railroad, which was the flow of people who were escaping slavery and going to Canada in order to be free from slavery. Catcher in the Rye actually features that, so there's a reason why, because there's a Canadian connection. Oh, that is so sad. What am I gonna play next? Once we've done some work here, I think we're getting pretty close to having all the line work done on this. It's looking pretty solid. I'll probably play some Backpack Battles or Vampire Survivors, just because those are pretty light games that I can kind of like get some gaming in. But it is almost 5, and I know my cousin was coming home for dinner originally. Am I gonna get a new model of my VTuber model or no? I've been actually thinking about that, but the problem is it's expensive. And I also am concerned that whoever I work with is gonna hear what I'm saying and then decide that I need to be charged like $5,000 for having so many quote-unquote individual models, when really you just need to be able to change the hair color, right? I just need people to be us to be able to change the hair color. It doesn't even need to have different color stripes, though we would really love that if that was part of the design. If we could actually have our own stripe designs, because technically we do. If we've designed some. If I open our PingTuber models, you can actually see we have different stripe designs. This stripe design is actually a mixture of two different folks' designs. This is mostly Ed's and somewhat Williams. That's not even my stripe design. My stripe design actually has a zigzag pattern on it. So if we open this up here, let's move it over here so it doesn't pop all the time. This is William, and you can see his collar. So we have that's William's design, and this one's mine. You can actually see on mine that, well, I guess I did decide the color, but mine's smooth, like mine's smoother, but I have like tiger stripes. I was always meant to have tiger stripes, but you know. And then this is Ed, and Ed is also me, but originally when we would design, and you can see the actual, if I lean over here, for frick's sake. You can actually see the stripe design for him is the stripe design on our model. And he and I fused, so technically this is sort of my stripe design, but, you know. And then this is Beth's stripe design. It's really, really different. It's got all these little, like, rosettes in it, as well as, like, a fang design across her face. So, like, yeah, it would be cool if we could have the stripes, but At that point, I'm pretty sure any freaking artist would be just like, no, I'm gonna charge you $5,000 million to do this, and I'd be like, you know, I can't afford that. Like, I'd save up $1,000, or maybe like even $2,000 to kind of like get new models made, but at that point, I'm concerned that no matter who I found, if I found someone I liked, they would just be like, no, flat out, that's too much work. Even though it's just the exact same texture, just with different colors on. And, I mean, I've thought about redrawing, like, because this is our drawing, right? I've thought about redrawing it, but the last time, you don't understand, it took us 6 months to draw this fucking thing. Because there's a lot of moving parts. Like, Bun is the person who rigged our model. Like, if I take this and I make myself small here. Like, for instance, here on the shoes, these are all the different layers. So there's the base of the shoe. There's, and you can see, like, I'm talking, and there's really nothing happening down here. That's because she didn't bother animating it. And fair play to her, because that's reasonable. But, like, in terms of layers, the shoe itself is a layer. Each of the shoelaces is a layer. Then on the legs, the calf is a layer. And there's a layer that is the thigh on each side. Then there's the crotchal region, which is actually attached roughly here on each thigh. Then we get the fist. The fist is all one layer. This is all one layer. The forearm. The upper arm's all one layer. Shoulder's a separate layer. The belly is one layer, then the rib cage is its own layer, and then the booba is a layer on top of the rib cage. And each of these have to be modeled, like, smoothly, so that when they're animated together, it actually looks right? And then the hair has, like, 1, 2, 3, and then 4 is the background, and then 5 is the thing in the back. And then 5 is just a little patch of hair here. The horns are on their own layer, right? So, like, all of a sudden, we are adding a lot of different things. A booba is always worth it. And then there's, like, what? How many layers in the mouth? Because there's the tongue and the teeth and the lips, the upper lip and lower lip. Back of the throat, which you actually can't see even when my mouth is, like, fully open. And each of these takes time to draw, right? Like, at a certain point, it takes a very, 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 very long time to draw all these things. And I can understand why anybody who would be drawing my model, whether it's me or someone else, is going to be like, I don't want to do this anymore! Because it's a lot of work. It's an ungodly amount of work. It really is. I made myself too big and moved myself aside. Squish myself over here. But yeah, there's so many layers on this model, just as is. And if I was gonna do it again, I know more about what a model actually needs, which is it's gonna hit a level of inhuman levels of detail that I won't make any money while I do it. Let's just put it that way. I would much rather make money from commissions than I would not making money from commissions. Oh, you want me to play as the X-Dash character? Oh, that's right. I picked up my phone for a reason. Like, why is my phone in my hand? Okay. Messaged my cousin to find out when they are coming home. Because it might be soon, it might, and it also might be later. Have I got this to a point that I'm happy with today? I think the answer is yes. I think the answer is yes. Yeah, I like it too. The only thing I would change is I would like, for instance, there's two different hair colors that are not distinct enough for me, and I would like to change one of them to a different color. So this is the color for Kat and for someone named Demu, and neither of them front very often. And then there's this hair color. So if I like layer them on top of each other, there's not a lot of difference between them, man. There's really not a lot of difference. Like, so like this is what Grayson would look like, and this is what Emma looks like. There's not a lot of difference between that and what Kat looks like and what Dem looks like. It's not distinct enough, and I would really like to fix that. I can't because I don't know how to. I was learning rigging, but that was on my Windows 7, and I don't have the program for it anymore, and I'd have to, like, I want to purchase it, because if you quote-unquote purchase it, you can get in real trouble if you don't have a license and they figure out that your model was not rigged with a legal version. Like, they will sue the shit out of you. And because it's a Japanese program, you better believe that they are gonna definitely sue the shit out of you. That's just how they vibe. I was wondering what was going on there. I'm like, I shouldn't be on 1.3 anymore. So in order to config it at all, I would have to get my hands on a legal copy of Live2D, which is gonna cost a pretty penny because it's a very expensive program when you want to actually use it for commercial purposes. Hey, I understand. I understand. You mean like show my face on stream? Assume I'm old and look like a potato. There you go. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, I'm so pretty in real life, you couldn't handle it. No, I'm old, I'm fat, I look like a potato. This is much more pleasant to look like. It's pretty straightforward. I used to be a cam streamer. No footage exists of that. Thank fuck. But it mostly has to do with just wanting privacy. You know, makes sense? I don't at all try to hide the fact that I'm old and fat. Like, I mean, I am. That's just facts. I mean, like, well, why not make a fat VTuber? I know some folks who've tried to do that. Like, they've tried to be like, I'm a large person in real life, I have a fat VTuber, but the problem is that people approach that from a very angry standpoint. People just get real fucking mad about it, and it's like, I don't need the immediate hate every time someone comes across my channel and goes, "You have a chonky VTuber." Yeah, and it distracts so much from just being able to have a little conversation with people. If that makes any sense. God, I had some guys come in here last night. I assumed that they were a bunch of transphobes who were trying to get a reaction out of me, which was really funny because I was singing and playing Backpack Battles, and all of a sudden they're like, "Oh, this one's biological," and just they all took off, and I'm like, "Bitch, you can be assigned female at birth and still be trans," but you know. Good missing the point. Yep. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, you're trans? Yes, I am. We are. We're genderqueer because there's more than one of us, and there's dudes in here, there's chicks in here, there's people who are in between in here. I found myself as being one of those in between people. I'm a demigirl. I'm very tomboyish, but in an actual gendered way, not in a I just like boys stuff. And I'm a girl. No, I don't feel particularly female in most ways other than, you know, I guess I got tits, so I guess. But, like, it's very I guess on a lot of levels. Very, you know? Yeah, I had a visit that they always can build a better idiot. They're like, "This one's biological, boys, pack up!" I'm just like, bitch. But I'm glad I distracted them for a couple minutes from going to somebody's stream and ruining their day. To be fair, I actually did that on because I knew it was going to happen, because when you back when I was on Twitter, because I'm not anymore. I'm gonna switch over to Backpack Battles because I need Oh shit, I'm actually streaming under Backpack Battles because I'm a genius. Yes, this is Backpack Battles, it always has been. Switch that to that screen. Go that at the bottom of the screen. That's saved. This is good. We'll just hit done for that. Pop that at the bottom of the screen, and Backpack Battles.